to step away from the arts tonight to discuss something and address a very key event for a brief moment. Tomorrow is the 14th anniversary of the Virginia Tech shooting, and it happened on April 16th, 2007. I was only a senior in high school. I had no idea what to think of this sort of thing. I was really learning about Columbine several years before. And it amazes me in the worst way possible how this sort of tragedy continues to occur, time and time again. But those explicit thoughts will be saved for maybe if you and I ever have a discussion in person. My heart goes out to all the families and friends of the victims in that shooting, as well as the family and friends of the victims in any shooting. Just absolutely astonishing in the worst way possible. You're probably wondering about the title. I promise you I will get to that, but I need to address something first. Just a brief disclaimer. With what I'm about to reveal to you, I'm not seeking any sympathy, I'm not seeking any pity, and I'm not trying to sympathize with the Virginia Tech shooter in this case. This is just a mere analogy. Many people say he was bullied throughout high school and college, and many believe it's part of what led him to commit such an act. From kindergarten all the way to senior year of high school, I was bullied. Physically, verbally, emotionally. And let me tell you, as resilient as I became, the years add up, believe you me. And I can recount certain events, and I can discuss them. I've written about them in several notebooks and journals. I've mentioned them in poems, and songs, essays. But nothing comes close to the visage of what actually occurred. Bullying can produce a vast number of results. It can lead certain people, like the Virginia Tech shooter, to homicide and then suicide. It can lead others to suicide without the act of homicide. It can traumatize a person so much that it would cause them to react in just many, many negative ways. With me, well, it robbed me of my self-esteem completely, and I was this close to taking my own life. I attempted once or twice, and it's not a pretty picture. In fact, this person behind me, his work saved my life, quite literally, at a time where no one else could. I mean, I'm grateful to have had such a support system, but no one could really reach me at that time. It really stinks because it's driven certain people crazy whenever they give me compliments, and even though I'm slightly better at accepting them, believing said compliments is a completely different animal. As a result, I've also become much more cynical, much more misanthropic, and just as well as a number of life experiences. But I do try my best to see the positive. Emphasis on the word try. So just from the number of years I was physically and verbally tortured, my heart also goes out to all of you who experienced that growing up. And even at home, for goodness sakes, in your own home, with if your family is ever abused you. My heart goes out to you, sincerely. I wrote several times that, for me, my family wasn't completely broken. But when I stepped out into the world, that's when I saw how broken it was. And I befriended many people who stemmed from broken families. I learned a great deal. It just, my heart sank. And just to reiterate once more, my heart is with you, truly. So now to the crux of the video, the title. Why was I on the news? Well, there's a certain group called Family Outreach, which my father belonged to at the time, and they've impacted a great number of families. They've done many fundraisers. You can feel free to look them up. And it was led by a wonderful person named Joel Farb. May he rest in peace. And somehow the news crew caught wind of this outreach group, and they spoke to me and asked me if they wanted to interview me about bullying. And I had just recently learned of this tragedy, information I was not privy to prior to said event. And I was extremely nervous. And in my opinion, I don't think I was that articulate on camera, mainly because of being extremely nervous about being in front of the camera, but also I was afraid of saying something stupid. Well, if my classmates saw this, or if certain people who did bully me saw this news video the next day, what sort of treatment would I receive? But when you have anxiety, you tend to overanalyze. So, it's a skill. Yeah, it's a thing. But I appeared on local news, so the clip I'm uploading tomorrow, or that's being uploaded for me, rather, thank you, YouTube, will detail said event, and they actually spoke with my father as well. So, thank you very much for letting me pour out these emotions to you. Hypocritically speaking, I don't like bringing personal matters on social media that often, but this is important, as I am an anti-bullying advocate. Part of the reason why I love Joe Gatto from Practical Jokers so much. So, yeah, I hope you, don't enjoy tomorrow's video, but hope you have a chance to view it. Thank you very much for your time. Poetry lives, long live the arts.